When you think of historic buildings in the United States, what do you think of? You may think of examples like the White House, the Congress Building, Independence Hall, the Empire State Building. Each one of these examples is preserved, frozen in time for any and all to see, past, present, and ideally for the future. Historic preservation in the United States is something that is fairly new. You may think with how much history and importance certain places have that they are immortal, indestructible, and, for the most part, they are. However, this is not always the case. Let's jump back to the start of it all. It all started 13.7 billion years ago. Too far? Try something a little younger. The year was 1963, and the 53-year-old Pennsylvania Station in New York City, New York, underwent a drastic change. The building was originally designed by McKim, Mead, and White and was considered a masterpiece of the Beaux Arts style of architecture and was one of the great architectural works of New York City. After World War II, many things began to change in the world, and one of these things was the decline of passenger railroad traffic. And as such, the Pennsylvania Station sold its air rights, the space above the property. This was the catalyst that eventually led to the demolition of the above-ground portion of Pennsylvania Station, becoming the subterranean Penn Station in the process. The station is now housed beneath Madison Square Garden. This blatant disregard for history and architecture spurred a mass movement of historic preservationists, demanding there be a system in place to protect buildings of significant cultural heritage. This movement culminated in 1966 with the passage of the National Historic Preservation Act of 1966, which was signed into law by Lyndon B. Johnson on October 15, 1966. This law had a number of ramifications. Mainly, any new federally funded construction project must now go through historic and cultural review to identify and preserve any historic properties or areas of cultural significance. This began the field of contract archaeology, or Cultural Resources Management, CRM for short. This employs the vast majority of archaeologists in the United States. These archaeologists are tasked with performing surveys to identify any cultural resource within a project's area of potential effect. Depending on the size, scale, and level of significance of a site, can impact the construction process or require additional mitigation. This is how the majority of excavation work is conducted due to the impending construction. The National Historic Preservation Act also created the National Register of Historic Places, which introduced the nation's first official list of districts, sites, buildings, structures, and objects worthy of preservation. They are officially designated historic properties regardless of status as archaeological or historic. There are 4 main criteria to listing on the National Register, and they are as follows. 1. That are associated with the events that have made a significant contribution to the broad patterns of our history, or site or place. 2. That are associated with the lives of significant persons in the past, people. 3. That embody distinctive characteristics of a type, period, or method of construction, or that represent the work of a master, or that possesses high artistic value, or that represent a significant and distinguishable entity whose components may lack individual distinction, or architecture. And then lastly, there's number 4, which is that have yielded or may be likely to yield information important to history or prehistory, which is the all-encompassing archaeology. Having a building or site listed on the National Register doesn't quite fully protect it from destruction, but offers a series of grants, loans, and tax incentives for keeping the properties maintained. Historic preservation has come a long way in the 66 years it has been codified in law in the United States. It's not a perfect system, but it provides us an avenue for protecting our heritage and preserving it for younger generations to view and enjoy as much as previous generations. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave a like below. If there is a topic that you would like to see, please let us know in the comments down below. Be sure to subscribe and hit the button so you don't miss out on any future videos. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.